Hey guys, have you ever agreed with somebody just to shut them up? Maybe you've been in a meeting and there's somebody there who really keeps pushing their agenda and they're not listening well to other people in the room. And whether you decide it consciously or not, you find yourself just stopping to argue your point even though you really disagree. I think this has happened to a lot of us. I'm going to talk to you today about two different patterns in interactions that we tend to fall into one of the two categories. So as I go through this, I'd like you to think of where you feel you identify the most. And these are patterns that you're going to find in a lot of interactions. So not just at work, but in other settings too. So some people have a tendency to step up in conversations. These are people who easily feel comfortable sharing their point of view. They really want to make sure everyone knows what they're thinking. They'll speak freely in meetings, and they tend to have a tendency to sometimes dominate conversations a little bit too much. They step up a little too often sometimes. So I'm one of the people that falls in this category. No wonder that I'm a speaker, right? I've found a really good career for me. But it's something that I've had to become aware of in my life, that my tendency to speak up, although there's a lot of benefits to it, can cause some problems in meetings too. On the other hand, we have some people who have a tendency to step back. So these are people who tend to be more comfortable sharing their opinions in one-on-one settings or smaller groups than in larger groups. They often will be more reluctant to share their point of view if they're not being called on specifically to do so. And they sometimes don't get a voice in meetings at all. So I'd like you to stop for a second and think about, are you somebody who has a tendency to step up or a tendency to step back? Now, the thing is that in meetings, these two types of people tend to perpetuate the dynamic of the other. So if you're somebody who tends to step up, you don't leave a lot of space for those who step back to be heard. And if you're somebody who steps back, you leave all the room in the world for the person who steps up to keep dominating. So to improve this dynamic within your workplace setting, I suggest that you try to have a conversation about this with your staff and have everybody really reflect on whether they have a tendency to step up or step back. Maybe even identify it at the beginning of meetings with a little card on the table if people are comfortable as to what their natural style is and what they're trying to do today. So I try in meetings to step back a bit. Those of you who have been in meetings with me may not agree, but I actually do try to step back because my tendency is to step in and step in and step in, or step up, I should say. But just being aware of what you're trying to do in the meeting opens a space for everyone to help encourage one another to be a bit more balanced in their roles contributing in the meetings. So I'd love it if you guys would give that a try and tell me how you find that. You can leave some comments below on Facebook letting me know what your natural tendency is and how you find that influences you in meetings and interactions with others. Thanks, guys.